What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Podcast, episode 300. Tonight we're down in hell. I'm here with Griffin.
I'm here with Trav.
And we're looking for that sweet, sweet vibranium with Adam.
We watched Black Wakanda Forever.
Yes. It's 300, guys. We've been doing this for some time.
Oh, yeah.
We've watched some really, really good movies. We watched some really, really bad movies.
And we watched some really, really weird movies.
Yes. But it ain't about the movies. It's about the camaraderie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's about the bonds that we develop over 300 episodes. I don't know how that's developed bonds more than they already have been developed, but I feel like they have in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so far, 647 hours.
I mean, and it'll live forever. Our force is imprinted on the internet forever.
Well, they'll be able to use this to bring us back with that AI thing
Oh, okay, yeah.
that Amazon's going to do. Because if you have like recordings of stuff.
Adam GPT is online.
Yeah. It's like, why are you searching for that?
Google it.
Yeah, yeah, right. But yeah, Wakanda forever, man. So last week we talked about Black Panther and in preparation for this because Adam hadn't seen it yet. It was time, to do it on the pod. I had very specific gripes with the movie that still exist. But I was excited to watch this movie because I really like Namor as a character, and I was interested.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I was really interested to see how they were going to handle this whole Chadwick Boseman thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how they were gonna, hand over the mantle and all that. And let me say this before we get into criticisms or whatever: how classy and sad was the intro to this movie?
It was good.
Like they have the funeral and then it's just dead silence and it's pictures of Bozeman.
Yeah. It's
It's
all his
so
clips throughout this. It's very, it's, they said they were gonna make, they're gonna have their tribute for it, and I assumed that was it
yeah.
because, um, a lot of people that have already seen and watched the film, and have posted their own opinions and stuff. They really laid heavy on the Chadwick Boseman aspect of the movie.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say Coogler managed to just continue to make a movie, and even though he was an integral part and his absence was an integral part, I was very surprised that this movie stood on all four paws, man.
Yeah, I mean, how do you go into it first of all? I mean, whenever the main character that this franchise is being built off of has an untimely passing, like you know what I mean? How do you
Yeah.
and I think that I'm gonna all right, 50% of it says that I like how they addressed everything and how it was kind of a theme that they treated it real.
Oh yeah, down to if for those dialogue people that hone in on it and everything, they even make mention that, I think there's a moment in the film where Shuri was like, he never told us it was, anything was wrong with him
Yeah.
up until the last minute, and all that, and how that kind of played into, Bozeman, the
Yeah.
actor, in real life with his illness.
Yeah, right. So I would say, it's something that's like really difficult, and I feel like that they did a good job at acknowledging it, celebrating it, and trying to move past it. You know,
Well,
um,
it keeps in line with uh Phase Four's whole thing about dealing with loss and grief and the grieving process.
yeah,
Because
absolutely,
even though years have passed since Endgame hit theaters. Uh, in the MCU films, if you're following the timeline and you condense all this stuff down and ham it out, all of these movies that have taken place post snap or post Endgame, uh, everyone's kinda in their own little state of what the fuck,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
and it very much reminds you that, like, as the audience, technically, I feel like our angle is we're supposed to still be grieving the loss of Iron Man while the heroes in their story moves on and they're dealing with theirs.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
looking at it through the lens of like watching MCU films, as it's an experience. Like you're going and having a good time in a really fantastic like storyline and universe.
Right, yeah, absolutely. But there are some things that I didn't there was some drawbacks to it. I will
I
say that.
agree. I agree. um,
So
Before
go
y'all
ahead,
move
Trey.
on too far,
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
like
yeah,
to say
yeah.
that I'm glad that they didn't try to deep fake him into the
Oh,
absolutely.
for
movie
Yeah,
real.
because that would
dude.
have been
I didn't
cheap.
even think about that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
like that
worried they were
was.
going to do it. And it's like, oh man, don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna do that when she takes the herb.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
but it's too
Uh,
late.
yeah. But yeah, I didn't even think about that, and yeah, that was I agree with you, Adam. Like,
Yeah. I'm happy that they decided because I was expecting them to have him show up in a capacity in that sequence to where in the suit, no speaking,
Hmm.
right? And that be kind of like, her thing. But it going the other way was really interesting, but I also had problems with it. But I'll get into that here in a second. Um, but what do you think, Trav? What's the thoughts here? What's the feelings?
how the ever loving fuck you gonna borrow so much shit to set up Doctor Doom and not deliver?
Oh yeah, right. For sure, right.
Um, I think I personally enjoyed the way they adapted Namor.
Yes.
I
Agreed
think
100%.
I believe also, despite the touching aspects of the movie, because it's bookended really. Like we have a beginning thing of Chadwick Boseman and the whole setup for the plot of the film. Then it becomes the movie, and then it's bookended with Shuri on the beach.
Yeah.
So in between those bookends, I think that's where the criticism lies,
Oh,
the
for
heaviest,
sure.
obviously.
Yeah.
So that being said, um, I think Ironheart could have they could have did away with her. Like
Yeah.
they could have waited until the series dropped, or if I don't know if it's a series or film. I don't know. I can't remember what they announced her story as. Think we could have waited and gotten just a story from her, introducing her like old school origin story series.
Yeah, and that feeds into one of the problems that I had with the movie. Namor's motivations were very lacking, in my opinion, because like his whole idea, what gets his wheels in motion is the fact that some girl developed a machine to detect vibranium, and because the Black Panther and the Wakandians opened their borders up and let everybody know that there's this material that has leaked out of Wakanda for years and years. That's what Claw was doing. That's how Ultron and all this came about. But no, just because they're like, yeah, we have this stuff, that opens up all the governments in the world to start looking in other places to see if vibranium exists. And just because some chick in some country developed a piece of machinery that can detect where vibranium is, he's going to lead like a crazy war on the surface. I'm just like, really?
Well,
Kill
well, my
everybody.
we'll
That was
see.
Ironheart, right? That's
Yes.
gonna be the new
Yes,
Yeah.
Iron Man. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh shit, she got an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I can agree with that, but on the other hand, I can disagree because if you think about a lot of our villains here, uh, a lot of their motives from time to time, man, are spawned off very simple ideas.
Yeah. No,
And
I,
but my thing is, I wish they would have done away with that aspect. I agree with you 110%. Shouldn't have been uh because at the end of the day, the movie was kind of like a gangland movie.
yeah, right.
Like I feel like those movies is what this pulled from.
Yeah.
Like turf war movie, you're either with us or against us. Like you took one of us, so we're gonna take one of you. Like that back and forth tit for tat type of gang fighting and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
And
that. It felt like that. I think Namor's motives in terms of like, okay, because when he's explaining all his shit to Shuri when she's down there, he's like, you know, when he tried to bury his mother on the surface, he saw how fucked up humans were.
yeah.
Said, "Fuck this, I'm out." And he was like, when he found, at least this is my interpretation of it, him flipping the fuck out over the vibranium detector. Because think about it, if it's because it's unmanned, because
Yeah.
technology's gotten to a point where they can send that shit down there and get it, and the soldiers can't siren suicide them like into whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's not combatants, like there's the things that a human has to consider and navigate, and what makes Claw an effective smuggler. Because one would assume that Claw had to deal with the Talacon people at some point.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think so,
Um,
right?
yeah, I mean, in all those exploits, because surely he probably knew that Wakanda had the most vibranium, therefore being the most convenient.
Yeah.
Hence that being where he went. But I feel like gun to the head, I need vibranium now, motherfucker. He's gonna go out in the ocean and get it.
Which is like leads back into my point about the first movie. Like Claw could have been the central figure that spurred all of this shit off into
Mm-hmm.
this like weird, like he said, she said war that happened between Namor and the Wakandans. And like Claw could have been at the center of it, manipulating everybody. It could have been a whole situation. But no, but no, we can't do that and have cool shit where Claw's behind the scenes pulling strings. And then, oh, come to find out, while all this is happening, he's got all of this vibranium from here and all this vibranium from here. And guess who he's giving it to? Dr. fucking Doom. But no, we can't do cool shit in the MCU when you kill fucking villains off, guys. We can't. Give me a fucking break.
I have to
Anyway,
agree,
I'm
and I
surprised they
think
didn't kill this one.
dude.
that's exactly what I
I
was
was
about
Oh,
real
to
oh
get
my
to.
surprised,
god.
I
I
was
w-
very glad that they didn't. I'm
but
glad Marvel was finally starting to be like, you know what, we can kind of keep a bad guy around for a little bit.
dude.
yeah, but
And
she
the
should have just
thing,
left him there. The way that they rode up together, I was like, that motherfucker killed your mom.
yeah,
Like, come
right.
on now,
Well, and the
Yeah,
thing
like they
is,
got
like,
real
come
friendly real
on.
quick after having like the most Bollywood of
Well, she
fights.
didn't want no
yeah,
dark passenger.
yeah. Well, and not like I like the way they did Namor's characterization because it was very true to an extent to his portrayal in the comics. Like he is true neutral. He is going to do whatever is best for his people, which is one way where it's like his motivations were weak. Yes, they were weak, but his response to it and his
Well,
action that he took for it made sense.
one of the cool things is that what that implied is, okay, we got Doctor Doom coming up, and at some point that motherfucker's gonna show his face.
Yeah,
So Doctor Doom is gonna be showing up. We're gonna have King the Conqueror. We've got Namor. We're a few other random choices from like having the Cabal, and the
yeah,
Cabal is a big deal for Secret Wars.
right.
and the Cabal's like a little group of they're a group of the villains that survive. At least the most recent Secret Wars that I read, that which I feel like it's probably going to be partially the one they're going to pull from the way it's looking in the movies.
Yeah.
But whenever everything really goes to shit, because it's kind of shitty now, but with Kang, it's implying that it's going to even go shittier than that.
Yeah.
uh, but they're gonna have it where there's a small band of villains that's gonna survive the big cataclysm alongside the choice Avengers that are gonna survive. It's gonna be almost like the snap, but on a multiversal level,
Yeah.
and it's gonna I don't I mean it just really depends on which way they go. Like if they're gonna pull from the really old school shit or if they're gonna pull the new, which the way the multiverse is has been set up and all of that. Uh, I feel like there's a good chance we could get very Battle World esque stuff going on
Yeah.
where it's different universes patchworked into one,
Right.
and that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, like, dude, like I said, I love the way that they handled Neymar. I love the way that, I love the change that they made to him. Another gripe and complaint, and I understand. I've watched enough James Cameron documentaries to understand how dark it is in the ocean, right?
Dude, I had to
Yeah.
But
watch it in complete darkness.
it was so
When you
fucking
warned
dark.
me, I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, dude, it like when they go, you can't appreciate how beautiful this civilization is because you can't fucking see it. You can't fucking see
It
Um,
it.
did look good in the dark, but
I
whenever
will.
they would come out of the water, it would just blind me because you know, what I mean, it's so
Yeah.
bright. Like like
Now, did you guys watch Shmeeby Blu-ray, copy, or did you guys watch Disney Plus?
No, I watched the IMAX copy.
Okay, because like the copy that I watched, which I assume is the one y'all watched, then, um, I honestly didn't have a big issue with it, which I think
well,
my
it
my
depends on what you're
TV.
viewing it in too, like time
Yeah.
Yeah.
of day. Like,
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I was
see,
watching
I've
it at
got my
night. It
my
was.
area
uh,
blacked out where I watch
Yeah.
TV, so
Yeah.
there's
See,
no
Now,
I
granted, I was watching it at night, so I
yeah,
yeah,
mean, for all intents and
definitely
purposes, I
helps
watched
on
it
the
pretty much just.
dark scenes.
I
Yeah,
I watched it at 1 o'clock in the
Yeah,
afternoon. You know what I
like,
mean?
dude, I want, I want a print out shot of Namor slowly lowering down. There's that wide shot where everything's symmetrical, and you see him like slowly lower himself down in front of everybody.
Yeah.
when he gives a
And
speech,
dude, that shot was fucking awesome. Like
Yeah.
I would
that
love
building
that
was
as like
pretty
a
epic.
oh man, like
Tiger Teeth Throne.
Talcon and Namor. It almost stole the show
It
for
definitely
me.
Yeah.
helped. Yeah,
Yeah.
Um, I really I love like referencing back to the gangland narrative I like template. I really liked those moments where they were talking and Namor's making, he's stating his plot. Like he's like, I'm gonna do this, whether you're with me or not. But it'd be really cool if you were with me.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Here's my mom's
if you're
bracelet.
not, you're gonna be the first motherfucker gone.
Yeah.
And
And
I
like,
thought that was cool. Like,
yeah. The like I okay, another gripe, another complaint here is like I understand that like they have to bridge this gap. They have to make it make sense for for her to start to take up the mantle, for her to develop, the Purple Heart and all that kind of stuff. Like I get that. I understand that.
yeah,
But like at the point in the film where she takes it and she has a complete character chain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like her everything about her changes in the moment that she takes that, right?
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
That is something that they could have A, left out of this movie entirely and it would have been okay because it felt rushed, it felt underdeveloped, and it felt very lacking because it's like she's going to get revenge because she saw Killmonger, and it's like no, they could have set it up to where she saw Killmonger. She could have been like, I'm nothing like you. And he could have been a reoccurring appearance in her life as to be the devil on her shoulder. Someone that shows up whenever she is in the middle of something and does that Michael B. Jordan, look at what they did to you. Look at what they did to your, you know what I'm saying? Like that could have been a side effect from the fact that she's taking the what the Wakandans had and then taking what Namor's people had and mixing it together. You know what I mean? And that could have been an
Well,
effect, a side effect of
well,
that.
and well, honestly though, man, who's to say that that's not going to be something that happens further on?
Well, it should, but they shouldn't have had her go from being a like a sympathetic type character that
Hmm.
needs to develop this thing in order to save her people. As soon as she takes it to become an anti-hero where she wants to kill Namor and kill everybody and screw everybody because all of her family's dead, to then having the
Well,
realization that like I'm gonna be noble and I'm gonna follow in the footsteps of my brother. Like it just all of this happened in the span of less than 30 minutes.
well,
Jesus
you know,
Christ.
I get that. I do. Um, I kind of took it as it was her Star Wars moment.
Yeah,
Um, the whole idea about getting vengeance and everything kind of consumed her. Talking to him kind of brought that more to the surface because it wasn't her just being like, "Oh man, I'm gonna," like her change of heart was still because think about this too. She also saw her mother at the end. That's what pulled her back. That's what brought her back.
yeah,
And so it was just I chalked it up to Star Wars like Force stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah. And I mean, yeah, like I get that, but still though, it's like to me overall the movie felt like unfortunately because of what had happened, they tried to throw too much into it.
No,
Like,
it's a packed movie. That my biggest complaint is the fact that it was 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty
yeah,
long.
they could have cut
Um,
40 minutes of this movie out completely, in
now
my opinion.
and yeah, and I would say that's the biggest complaint on it. Now, granted, for 2 hours and 40 minutes, I was far more captivated by this movie than I was the first one.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
10 times better.
Yeah.
Um, some very good writing was done in the film to pull. I mean, it had to be one. I wouldn't necessarily say writing, but Coogler has improved as a director, and you can see it in this one because at the end of the day, he managed to pull off a near 3 hour film about a superhero that we don't even see until the last like 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. And that's like I'm not even upset
and
by that,
and
you
that's
know?
and I would say that's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And on top
Yeah.
of it all, it also he got to cash in on that coveted moment where you make a sequel that does surpass your first film.
I mean, bar was low.
I mean, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Now, granted, I think I had a good time with it because I went in with very low expectations.
Yeah. So and I did the
Um,
same.
Yeah,
I
especially
went
after
in with the
watching the first one.
idea. I went in with the idea, honestly, that it was going to be very like even like I wasn't expecting as much action as I got.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, sadly, by the time the things are popping off between Talakon and Wakanda, Chadwick Boseman and the loss of the original Black Panther is kind of an afterthought
Yeah.
because it did do a good job of forcing you to be like, all right, I give a fuck about these supporting characters.
Yeah.
It would, it would be, it would be this, it, it'd be a lot like, a Batman movie, but you got to follow Robin and Alfred along.
Yeah. No, I mean,
And and to his credit, he did succeed in that. Bar was low, granted, but I think I think it delivered the move along it needed to. And I also want to say that I called it, kid.
I mean, he's so
Like,
young though. Like, goddamn, they're gonna
like
have to really age him up fast. And
no,
like,
dude, no, they all have kids. They keep shooing in a fucking kid. They're like, all right, man, we just had a gang war. We just had all this other shit. Oh yeah, by the way, Travis was right. Here's another kid to add to the pile.
yeah, whenever
Um,
the kid came out at the end, I'm like, really, really,
like I I hope that it's as it's a stupid idea in the sense that like, all right, we had a major loss, but where there's loss, there's gain. Where there's death, there's life. Like, if we're gonna go with that, cool, fine, whatever. But if we're speaking like for the narrative of of like the continuation of the story, why like I feel like it's still setting up the dilemma that they're gonna have to kill Kang as a kid to really like whack a mole in the game.
yeah. Well, I mean that's a possibility, but
And see, I feel also like the next by the time they make Black Panther 3, I feel like it's gonna divert from the main storyline and we're gonna get a Logan thing where we get like a massive time jump because the thing I took away from the very ending where we get the introduction of like of that he had a kid, you know, his name's really Chala as well. And you know, the notion that okay, there's always going to be a Black Panther named T'Challa,
yeah.
and so I'm wondering if we're going to speed that up, or are they going to have some crazy thing where some stuff goes down and he ages quickly and he comes back, or he gets pulled out of the future, or who knows, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, by the time they get everything set up and said and done, by the end of like the next phase, the kid will be 15. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
So,
and the reason I say that is because they're going to get back to making the Black Panther be King T'Challa as soon as possible. Because even Shuri, if I'm not mistaken, in the comics, her stint as Black Panther was very short, and I feel like this movie, with its runtime, the amount of plot that's given to it, how it's centered around her specifically, and everything, I feel like she got that character got its story out.
yeah.
Yeah, because she handed it over to old dude, right? The whoo, whoo, whoo. Like he's going to be the king.
No,
Um,
Well, at the end,
she's
he was like, I'm here to challenge, and she's not there. So there is
yeah,
no
you're
challenger.
right.
It would just be, he would be
I
the king.
mean,
I think she handed
that
that over like she don't want it.
and oh so and that's the thing. Here's what I was kind of hoping that they would have done. I was hoping that the chick from uh Walking
Us.
Dead.
Oh,
I was
Michonne,
hoping yeah, I was hoping that like okay, the mom kicked her out, so she's
which
no
was
longer part of
crazy.
the yeah, right. I
Like,
mean, yeah, that's a whole
really?
different thing. Yeah, I know. Mom kicked her out, and I was like, dude, how crazy would it be if she developed two of these things, like two of these, which they were planting them at the end or whatever, and it's like both of them become Black Panthers in that moment, and then Shuri decides like she doesn't want to take up the mantle unless she has to. She doesn't want to rule unless she has to. She wants to be a scientist, and then because I would be 1,000% okay with the chick from Walking Dead being Black Panther. I love her character. I love everything about her.
But she's a very good she's a good actress. Like Michonne, like her portrayal of Michonne in The Walking Dead, as far as I got in the show, was great. I thought she
Oh
was
yeah.
Yeah.
perfect. I always thought that she was perfect casting for her,
Yes.
and I think she's done a good job in the Black Panther series as well.
Yeah.
Um, I gotta admit, I kind of like the idea that they went ahead and upgraded her to the Midnight Angel armor and stuff.
Yeah. That was cool.
But that still hands in to my complaint that like isn't that like some shit that that they got to use to deal with Doom?
Possibly.
Like there's because there were several like there's a lot of shit in there that like I said there were a lot of place things like just all the ingredients for Doctor Doom to show up have are in place now. We just
Yeah.
need fantastic. We just really we just need Reed Richards and Victor and all that good shit.
Yeah.
Um, but
Oh, Michonne
the
got a noggin on her though, don't she?
She does,
Dude, well, the
dude.
whole time I'm watching, I'm like, did they put some kind of prosthetic back there to make it?
I don't
Because it
know.
almost had that Egyptian,
Yeah, yeah.
but
But I
elongated
liked it
skull
though.
kind of. Yeah.
I didn't know that I was into bald chicks, but you
I
know what I'm
figured
dude,
that out a
saying?
long
Like,
time
dude,
ago.
I didn't know water balloons slap that hard.
Well, it
for
reminds
real,
me of those
right?
things that you used to put. It was like a bomb at a timer,
Yeah.
and you put a water balloon in it,
Oh yeah, you
and
played
it
like
would
hot potato
turn.
with it or
Yeah,
something in the pool.
that's
Yeah,
what that reminded me of. But dude, when they first attacked that thing at the beginning, the rig and everything,
Yeah.
we got to like a siren singing. I'm like, oh, okay, they're like
I
mermaids too. That's cool.
I was surprised Marvel did that. I mean, well, I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was surprised they went that far with that and showing just how much of a threat
Well, when they hopped out of the
you
water, I was like, fucking James Cameron is gonna sue somebody. Like that's all I
Yeah,
could think was
right.
like, whoa, y'all really? I was like, well, it is Disney. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we got patting on blue people, but it was kind of
Yeah.
cool how when they'd go back down there. At first, I'm like, why are they different colors? And it's like, oh, okay, they look like that when they come out of the water.
Yeah.
And I know I think it might have gotten brought up in Miss Marvel. I've yet to finish that or really even get past the pilot. I just don't think I'm the demographic for that show.
Yeah, no, I ain't watching it.
Um, well, not well. I mean, when I say demographic, I know that can be misconstrued, so I just want to
Yeah, I'm
provide
not a kid.
clarity. Yeah,
Seems
kid
like a
show.
kiddie show.
Yeah, and I mean that's fine. Like that's 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 the next generation of people who are going to enjoy these stories and everything. So yeah, like you gotta breadcrumb them in. But but yeah, we get our first on-screen word drop of mutants.
Yeah. Which
Um,
was interesting because he is the OG mutant.
so that's cool. That's some X-Men stuff.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited that I'm excited. Like I said, one of the best decisions in this film was not killing off Namor.
Dude, if they would have killed off Namor, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about this movie right now.
We'd already
Like,
be on to The Last of Us.
dude, if they would have killed Namor off as soon as the episode started, I'd have said no stars. Why did you kill Namor? And I wouldn't have said jack shit about the movie after that. Because fuck it. I would never watch it ever again. Because Namor is such a great character. He is that character that shows up whenever shit is going down. And he's like, if we have to sacrifice people to do something, let's sacrifice people to save the day. Like he is the guy that is a true neutral character that doesn't pick sides, that doesn't want to have anything to do with this shit. So when he shows up, shit is getting crazy. That's exactly who he needs to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. King
Well,
shows up, he needs
well,
to show up.
yeah, and I like the fact that that because adding to that, I thought it was very well done how as he's talking and through his dialogue with Wakanda and everything. He keeps hammering in too at the very end. He always adds it on with, and you're not gonna tell anybody about my fucking people, man.
Yeah.
Like we don't exist.
Yeah. So for me, the biggest issues that I had with it, just to kind of fucking hit the high notes, is I felt like they were trying to cram way too much into it. They could have realistically shortened this down to a 2-hour movie. They could have cut all the stuff out with Freeman and Elaine. They could have cut all that shit out, like, completely.
Absolutely.
That was
Like
not
they like
needed.
they could have had Freeman to be uh the way that the Wakandans are able to get in and out, have that one moment where they place the call on him and he's like, "All right, I can get you into the country." And then let that be it and let him
Yeah,
go do hobbit things.
exactly. Like, it
And
was not necessary whatsoever.
What didn't
It didn't
add
but
have
anything to the story?
exactly,
Like when she
well,
exactly.
shows
it
up and busts him out, it's like, okay. I mean,
well once well
I think the
well when
only
you
reason
think
they
of
did it was so she could say a colonizer in chains.
Well, and not I
huh,
think that that's gonna be the Thunderbolt's mission, is to, like,
well
go to
Get
Wakanda
him
and to
back.
get him back. Yeah, to extradite him, you know?
well, the movie honestly had several, like, not several, but just a couple of subplots going on, or really it pivots
Yes.
because the
Right.
first half of the film, leading up to the introduction of Ironheart, and once they meet Namor for the first time, the movie stops even fucking being about vibranium altogether.
Yeah,
And that's where I think the Freeman Louis Dreyfus scenes become pointless
yeah,
because their acquisition of vibranium isn't shit now because Namor and Talacon's attacking Wakanda and fucking wrecking their asses.
yeah,
Like that, it shifts into the gang fight basically,
yeah,
and maybe that's, I mean, that adding back to my example with that, it's the moment in the movie where the FBI's like, we don't know what the fuck's going on, like,
yeah. So, they could have absolutely cut that out. I think I agree 100% with Ironheart. They could have introduced her in this, like, they should have had the Wakandans shown up in the United States and had that conversation about how she developed it, and then they could have, like, shipped her off
well
to
they well they could have brought her down to Easter egg level where they're like, all right, there's this device that can detect vibranium, and have it to where it's like, they're looking at it and they're like, Riri Williams, who's that? And then the audience who's familiar with her as Ironheart would be like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah, yeah,
and then from there, they could have even have it, they could have done it to where when Ironheart, the show, I assume it's going to be a show,
I
when
think
it
so.
happens, you know, part of her coming of age, figuring everything out, being, because she's obviously been doing it for a minute because she was like, there's a whole YouTube channel dedicated to my sightings.
Yeah,
So she's kind of having a Spider-Man esque background, and they could have had that, but while that's going on, they could have had Wakandans being like, "Hey, why are you like? What's this about?" And had them be like, like Wakandans, versions of like the Men in Black. Like they show up and they're like, "Hey, man, like, how'd you build this tech? We're taking it."
yeah,
And she's like, "I need to get it back," and finally, have some sort of thing where she ends up at Wakanda in the final episode of the finale, and she's in front of Shuri as the Black Panther and explaining like, "Hey, I was just." It was, go full comedy on it and be like, dude, it was a science project, uh, and that would have played in for some good laughs, and it kind of did.
yeah,
It was a little nod wink to being like, yeah, she's really brilliant, she's really smart. Apparently, Tony Starks are in abundance, really, instead of just.
yeah. Yeah, I would have omitted her from the movie. I would have completely changed Neymar's motivations. It should have been motivated around adamant or vibranium for sure, but it should have been in a completely different way. Like I said earlier, they really wrote themselves into some stupid shit when they started killing fucking people off in the last movie. Um, I think that I like watching the transformation from of Shuri like being unsure
Yeah.
about what she's gonna do. See what I did there?
Unsure of
Yeah.
herself.
And then have her like go full circle. I wish that that version of the Purple Heart that they made would have done something different to her because she is splicing two different versions of this thing together, and maybe it will. Who
I
knows?
thought
Like,
it was different when it had her in the water. And I was
yeah.
like, what's this about? And then
Well,
she came up and it
well,
was like, oh, okay.
well. If you think about it, and this might be heresy, um, but who is to say that they don't have Aurora as Storm, and because she's ingested this semi-spliced heart that has almost a mutant X gene quality to it, who's to say in another movie she doesn't acquire, she starts having like long-term effects have kicked in and she becomes Storm.
Well, I mean,
I mean, I know that's some mental gymnastics there, but we
not
also
really.
know we also know now that like they're obviously changing. They're gonna have Yellow Jacket become MODOK in Ant Man, so they're
Yeah.
willing to do stuff like that,
Yeah.
and they obviously can't go the route of King T'Challa and Storm relationship. Like they can't segue Storm in that way now.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, but
I
think
would
about
have. I would have liked to have seen if it exists. The original script for the sequel, uh,
yeah.
prior to Boseman's death.
Yeah.
Like I would have liked to have seen what the original idea for this movie was before they had to sadly change it.
Right. I don't think that the mental gymnastics would be that terrible because think about it. This is what I chalked it up to in my head. Whenever he drank it or, ingested it, it awakened his mutant powers. That's it. That's all you got. Deadpool was in that fucking chamber thing for how long before it triggered his mutant abilities. So, you know, that's all you have to chalk it up to. That's simple. It's been explained before in Fox properties. So they could definitely but Storm's from Africa, right? Like originally, I think she's from Africa, if I'm not
uh,
mistaken. So it could
or one of those. I think it's wasn't it like another fictional nation that she's from over there? It's been forever since I've read like original X-Men origin stories, shit like that. Like it's been years, so I can't
yeah,
remember that shit.
she is to a tribal princess of Kenya and an African
Okay,
American photojournalist father. She was raised
okay,
in
so hers
Harlem.
was okay. So hers is more real world centric.
But anyway, they could absolutely do that, and I think that that would be a cool way to have like different things trigger different mutant abilities, and that could be a cool way to do that.
It would
Um,
be it would be I think it would be an interesting way to keep Black Panther present in times and eras where they're either not going to make a film or once they've made the third movie, the contribution to the overall story or at least to the hero's side is that there is a safe if someone's showing some sort of trait, they're able to do it. And I know that that is specifically for the Black Panther ritual, but if Shuri is able to mass produce it, it could be a safe way to take Omega level mutants and be able to help them sort their shit. And could be, it could be used like almost the same way as like think of it as like ayahuasca for a mutant's powers.
yeah. Well, I could see them transitioning that into the new super soldier MacGuffin, super soldier serum.
Oh yeah, dude.
I
Oh,
mean,
for sure.
because
Well, I mean, the Thunderbolts clearly are getting set up to have to deal with something in Wakanda.
yeah,
I mean, I know they want the vibranium, but I also think that because of everything surrounding the series now with the death of Bozeman, I feel like they're gonna try to make it to where it's not this thing where it's like, oh man, they're constantly after vibranium, which I mean, it's a constant Marvel plot, sure, but I think they'll also have it to where it's like maybe this sort of yin yang thing where it's like the negative aspect of Wakanda is that they're constantly being attacked and having defended against people who are trying to smuggle vibranium and down to the point of war. But they also have a healing property, and it's the same thing that they use to choose their leader with,
yeah,
but still because of Wakandan culture that it's prohibited, so it's only for it's it's MacGuffin style where it's like, okay, who's gonna drink the stuff? Oh shit, like this person's gonna figure out who the fuck they are or what blah blah blah.
yeah.
I
I'd
mean,
like to
dude, they
add
can.
something to that. I wonder if he had like he when he knocked her up. So
Hmm.
if he had that stuff in him, did that pass it over to the kid?
See, I was wondering that too because like
Because he
Namor
would be
got
like,
his
it'd
that
be like
way.
Namor, yeah. Like
Yeah,
I know it was
and
different because her mom drank it, but what if he comes out
yeah,
and he's like mutated too? You know, he's like just forever Black Panther. I mean,
yeah.
there
Well,
is
and
no
it makes
stripping
me
it away.
see that, and that's one thing that they never really dive into because like his dad was the previous Black Panther. So in order to knock boots, did he have to take the other stuff that took his powers away? Because maybe in the past there was children that were born after taking the herb that were like mutated in some like physical way. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because I mean,
Well, well, if you remember, there were different characters in Wakanda that referred to Talakon as the Lost Tribe.
mhm,
So theoretically, the people of Talakon, they're Wakandan.
Well, in the first
yeah,
movie, there was a Mayan tribe.
yeah,
There was someone there representing the Mayans
yeah.
when
The
they wasn't
Mayans,
blue, but
yeah. This was before the transformation.
yeah.
But
Did y'all
But
notice that the dude from Nope wasn't in it?
yeah, and they mentioned
I
that
looked it
too.
up and I was like, why is he not in here? Now, the director was like, well, it's because of what he did in the first one. You know, he's been banished. And I'm like, half the motherfuckers here did what he did. Like,
Well, and not only that, but like Black Panther came out before Infinity War, right? And Infinity War, they fought in Wakanda, and he was there, if I remember
that's right.
correctly.
Yeah.
So
I don't
like,
know. I
oh,
think he
so
just
you
didn't want to do it or couldn't
he's
come
good
to an
enough to come.
agreement.
Yeah, he's good enough to come back and fight a war, but nah, he can't just be
Yeah.
sitting around having tea.
He
Fuck
probably
that.
wants more money
Mm,
after Nope.
well, he
You know what
probably
I'm
wanted to be Black Panther, which
saying?
I don't blame him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you know, and like, okay, Killmonger showing up in her, spirit quest or whatever, her vision thing. I was fine with that. I thought that that was a cool twist. I thought that that was really interesting. It just goes on to show okay, a they could still figure out a way to bring Killmonger back without having to go through the multiverse thing.
well,
Because
going 6 feet under and having the ghosts haunt her would be a very good way of bringing characters along.
right,
Um,
um,
I think that him showing up was a very nice way of showing how, because in the whole meaning of that scene I took from it was, you know, you can't change who you are no matter how much your mind is made up on something. Like you're gonna be what you are.
yeah,
And I felt like that's how they tried to craft that scene with him there, because she's like, I'm nothing like my brother, but I'm also not like you either, and he's like, I beg to differ.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot of things that were concerning. There was a lot of things that was good about the movie. Namor was the best thing, and that whole thing carried the movie in a big way, in my opinion. I like the guy that played Namor. I like the background. I like the style, the way that they, how they tackled Namor as a character. Um, Still could have cut it down 40 minutes, made it a 2-hour film. They could have absolutely, condensed some of this stuff down and cut some of this chuffa stuff. Like, and it hit beat for beat, instead of going to get Claw, they had to go and get Ironheart. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that they hit beat for beat, almost note for note from that first movie. It
Because
was,
they could have done something as badass as Claws got this tech, and they're like, well, who's supplying him? He's a dumbass, you know. And you trace like you have a group of Wakandans out in the world doing like James Bond shit, trying to figure out what's going on, and you kind of play into the idea that like you kind of let them just they're out there doing shit, figuring out, trying to trace it. We're gonna get to them, but they're not important in the moment. And then have like part of a credit scene or something where they're like, we finally got the information, and like they pull it up, and it's like the technology's coming out of Latveria, and you're like, oh shit, like
yeah, yeah, man. The same issues that I had from the first movie, unfortunately, wrinkles completely through this movie. It wasn't bad. It was an experience. Namor was good. I'm still giving it a half. That's where I'm at with it.
I'm giving it a star. I liked it more than I did the first one.
I liked it more, but like still though, man, like I could rewrite this movie.
Sure.
If you rewrite the first movie, it completely changes regardless of like the things in life that really happen, the unfortunate circumstances around life. And it would have made it like tenfold, but
You get what you
whatever.
get.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with your sentiments, Griffin. um I I think it suffers from a long run time, and I have to say I'm one of the many people that were like, no Doctor Doom, WTF. I'm definitely on that bandwagon with a lot of other people, and I agree with Adam and you both that it is a far superior movie than the first one. And because of that, I think it deserves that bump. So
Hmm.
I'll give it a full star. I think it reflects it. I do think
Yeah.
the movie. I think it's a star, but once again, like with the last week, uh, big asterisk by that motherfucker, because
Hmm.
It's a
there
crack
are
star.
like the runtime and the contents that fill up the chuffa that's in this movie, because it's there. Sadly, it's there.
I'd
I
say
think
there's
they
about 30 minutes that could be completely removed and you
Yeah,
wouldn't
uh,
for
even
I
sure.
notice
think
it.
I think they handled tributing Bozeman as an actor. I thought that was well done.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very poignant thing to just bring it in with silence. Um, and for a lot of the things that they for all the reasons that you stated that the movie had its issues with, I agree. But I also think the things that really ramped up the movie and made it better than the previous one, uh, it did it in droves. I love the combat, even as Bollywood as it was to me, because like I don't know if y'all noticed this, but every time someone or something exploded, got hit, got swung at, it would slow down like Bollywood.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just because I'm getting mind rot from these fucking trailers I'm watching with y'all, but when I was every time I got to the point where I'm sitting there just kind of like comedically commentating myself as I'm watching the movie. They're fighting at the end, and at one point it's like I'm like, Namor coming at you with the Bollywood, and he jumps and swings at Shuri,
Oh,
and
he
she like
was
ducks.
violence.
Yeah.
So,
Wonder if his
um,
little wing will grow back.
Oh yeah.
She ripped that
Oh,
off. She hit him with, I thought I taught putty tat, you know?
yeah.
um, you might have to argue this point with me, but I'm also one of those people that really thinks that in time, in future's time, Eternals is going to become one of the most criminally underrated movies in the MCU.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think to certain extents, some of the stuff that could be, if the seeds that this movie has planted come to fruition or come to bear fruit, whatever, uh, I think this one in particular will be a underrated film as well. But I don't now. I want to make clear, I don't think it's the greatest MCU film ever made, not by a fucking long shot. But it's definitely one of the ones that I would throw it in a cut in the cut above pile. Um, but once again, man, like you've stated, Griff, you know the bar on this movie for me was set very low. I think for a lot of comic fans outside of sadly the politics or the real world uh, events happening with Bozeman and everything, uh, it's it is what it is.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. Like maybe in the future I'll revisit it and have a different opinion about it, especially after the next one comes out, the next film comes out. But right now, I don't. Maybe it's because I'm watching it right off the heels of that other one too. You know what I mean?
I mean, it could be.
I'm just sitting here thinking like they fucked up so fucking bad that fucking first movie, and it's fucking everything up in this movie
Well,
too. Like,
oh yeah, and it's
You
hard.
fucking this up, dude?
It was really hard.
yeah,
I agree with you, Griff. It was really hard not to see that, and you're just like you're watching a problem snowball.
yes, it's an
That's
avalanche, dude.
but
I'd say with him dying, the recovery was decent.
yes,
Oh yeah, for sure.
That
I
wasn't in the
will say
cards.
yeah, and I still think because that's the thing. You can watch this movie without having even watched the first one.
Yeah, because it's an origin
Yeah.
story all over again. You know?
Because I feel like most people are gonna jump into Wakanda Forever, probably coming off the heels of watching like the big movies, like the Avenger movies,
Yeah,
and you know, while most of us would be glasses pushing, going, watch them all. A lot of people's not necessarily gonna do that.
Doing the Conan voice.
what you
Watch them all, start to finish, chronological order. You know, like fairy godparents. Um, but yeah, man. Uh, I I went in not knowing what to think, low expectations, was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
So I'll give it a star. But it could absolutely, and it's so ass backwards because normally 2 hours and 40 minutes, unless that shit's got Batman and Superman in it, I'm not gonna give it a full star. That's too goddamn long. But to get over what the issue of the series has and how they're going to work around it, I could see where they felt it needed to have that kind of time to breathe. But you know, Chuffa's Chuffa, dude.
yeah,
Ironheart and the Thunderbolts could have been left out.
yeah, for sure. For sure. So, The Last of Us.
Sheesh.
Or as Twitter has shown, the Baja Blast of Us.
Have they shown us?
There's a meme I saw where it's the poster for the show where it shows Pedro Pascal and the chick that plays Ellie,
Yeah.
and where he normally is holding a gun, it's a cup of Baja Blast from Taco Bell, and it's the Baja Blast of Us
Why? Just because?
Is it
because the
like the
internet,
dad
Griff.
jokes from the book?
Yeah,
Is that what
just
they're
Okay.
doing? Dude, whenever
That's
she
it.
said, why does a Scarecrow get a major award?
yeah,
And he answered it. He likes her.
he does.
Well, it's like, it's kind of going back to his relationship, that he didn't get to have with his daughter. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's cool that you find out the only reason he didn't want her having a gun was he didn't want her to have to kill somebody.
yeah.
Yeah,
It kind of couldn't be
which
mad at her, though, for saving your
which
fucking life. Like,
that scene was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
The way he, the direction of being like, hey, like I want you to, you can make it, like get over there, and you keep hearing those people go, you
oh,
motherfucker.
yeah, it was almost like
Yeah.
a video game. Like the
Yeah.
recorded lines, it just kept doing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
there,
Fuck
It was
you.
funny. Get
there was
over here.
there was another video I saw on Twitter where where it was a clip of gameplay footage, and it was like knowing that there are people who have only watched The Last of Us through or who have only experienced it by watching it, and it's just this shot of somebody playing the game, and it's just Ellie running through this fucking, but just killing motherfuckers left and right, just going completely postal. It
I
was
mean,
just it was really funny.
So that ground that was bubbling like that, that's going to be one of them big motherfuckers, right?
I mean,
We saw a teaser where they showed one. It was huge,
That thing that
yeah.
climbs out of the ground, right?
just massive. And I'm thinking that's what that was. Like,
I was thinking that too.
she's like,
And
no, we
she,
need to handle this first.
yeah, dude, fuck Henry.
Yeah.
Okay. You
He
know what
won't
I'm
let the
saying?
boy
Like,
starve.
yeah, fuck Henry.
So they're
If
not
I'm in
even
the,
looking for the same people. Like,
no,
they're looking for a guy and a kid, a boy, but it looks like they found them, or the guy and the kid finds them. I don't know who
I
finds
think
those.
that, yeah, the guy and the kid found them
Yeah.
at the end of the episode, which is, you know,
They might be able to help each other out.
yeah.
The kid
I
could be
just,
one of the kids too that, oh, what if they introduce another one where it's like he can't get infected?
ooh,
It's like, well, this is
um,
different.
yeah, right.
And we got two
Uh,
cargoes.
yeah. Well, we got a backup plan in case somebody wants to leave the show down the
Little,
road,
little Hank Williams.
Yeah,
Dude,
that
does
was
she pull that
cool.
magazine out?
Yeah.
Why are the
Why
pages
the
sticking together?
That
Put
was
it
fucking
down.
great. Yeah.
He's
His
like, no.
reaction.
He got
Yeah.
very uncomfortable.
How do you walk around with these things?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you know.
Well, it's
It,
only my second day in a car.
They got good chemistry.
yeah, they do. As soon as that guy was like, I'm hurt, I need help. She's like, are you not going to help him? Fuck no. He just takes off.
He's like, I've been on
I
both
know this
sides of
sounds
that.
I know it sounds weird, but honestly, I feel like his performance, and I'm not saying that doesn't have range or that he can't act, but um I'm very excited for the moments where they're going to be able to pull off Grogu being able to talk
Oh, yeah.
and having to have some sort of way of having Pedro interact with another actor that's representing it, be it mocap or something like that, Because, I mean, let's face it, Ellie is Joel's baby Yoda.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
And so, uh, it's just, it's got, I don't know. I like Pedro Pascal, dude. He was great in Narcos. Uh, Fantastic as the Mandalorian.
Dude, I watched the full SNL thing, killed it.
Oh, dude,
Really?
the Mario
Yeah.
Kart bit was hilarious.
Did they do
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one where they're at a restaurant and the girl's cutting that steak and it's shaking the whole table and they're trying not to laugh. He's got one where he plays like this Italian kid's mom or something.
Yeah.
Um, I was
Some good
surprised that I
bits.
actually laughed that hard at SNL in a long time.
Yeah.
Um, did you watch any of those bits, Griffin?
I watched the Mario Kart one, but that's the only one that I've seen.
Okay, so it's like I'm Yoshi. I'm bisexual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm toad bisexual. Okay.
The HBO producers, like yeah, it's like for the yeah, it's like just it's great. If you're listening, just pull up SNL Mario Kart. It's hilarious.
Yeah. No, I do like here's what I'll say, okay? Like the fact that we've seen more, okay? We've seen more of the United States in decay in 4 episodes. And the last episode of The Last of Us took place in one location.
I mean, dude,
But we
those shots and that art design and CGI is not hard to pull off. Hasn't been for a long time.
yeah, it's just amazing that we've seen more in 4 episodes of The Last of Us than we saw in 9 seasons of The Walking Dead.
I've been really that's something that I've been really pressing on with people who I talk TV and movies with, man. Um, and I at one point I would have considered myself a diehard Walking Dead fan. Comics, read them. Show, watching it. Like I'm there. Uh, this is better than that.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Not that Kirkman didn't create a good story and universe, but The Last of Us is a better apocalypse
Well,
story.
he also tried to sue him for fucking his story up. Like,
Yeah,
Um, yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Yeah.
he wasn't happy with the way it was handled.
yeah. So I
Um,
mean,
but I think I'm right there with you, man. I think that the scope of the show in just 4 episodes has outdid 9 seasons of The Walking Dead.
it's crazy.
And
It's
I
In
get
four
it.
absolutely
episodes.
fucking
I get it that like, well, at the end of the day, The Walking Dead is just the zombie movie that doesn't end. And I
yeah.
get that. And The Last of Us is different in story and in creature, but they follow such similar beats. It's really hard not to compare them. And I gotta admit, The Last of Us is better. And here's my thing, and I know the answer. I feel like it's rhetorical, but just spitting it out there. I really don't understand the flack that that last episode got.
What do you like?
Oh, how they were review bombing it, and
Yeah, like
that's just
I
people
don't,
being fucking stupid.
cause I mean, while while I don't, while there's no resonation with those characters' sexuality, the story that was told using them, I could absolutely relate to.
Yeah,
I think any human being could. So I was very I've been taken aback by that because I did because that's the thing that episode it didn't feel like like let's be honest, our media that we consume, agendas are pushed with it, whether you want it to be or not. That's the truth.
Yeah,
And that last episode didn't feel agenda heavy at all. It just felt like
well,
it was telling a story.
you have to wonder too, like how many of those are like bots to push the, you know what I mean, to be like, see,
yeah,
straight white males,
Yeah.
they don't like stuff like this, and it's like we all did. I mean,
yeah.
everybody I've talked to did. I haven't heard one person be like, "Ooh."
I mean, that was a very
So it makes you
uh
wonder
yeah.
where all those
Yeah,
reviews came from.
I didn't even think about that, man. I haven't thought about a lot tonight apparently. But but yeah, man, like that could very well be true. But I noticed that I saw that for about the better part of a week and was
Yeah,
like, I don't get it. Did they like are we watching the same show here? Like didn't we agree that we were watching The Last of Us?
yeah. Even the
I did.
game put out one of those statements,
Yeah,
kind of like
Now I know
Eminem, and
well now I know that the from the game fan perspective that I know that there were some questionable choices made, but overall, even though they had those complaints and nitpicks, that's what they were, nitpicks. And at the end of the day, they were like, man, it's still good.
Yeah. No, I don't. I haven't seen anything on that, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's because I'm not paying attention or it just hasn't crossed my radar, but like everything that I've seen has been pretty good review wise. I mean, I don't know.
Well, there were
Maybe.
people that were review bombing it to bring the numbers down on the episode. I mean, they got it down to like under 2.
Well, now I
I-
did
But
see,
it's
I
just
did,
people, you know.
yeah, I did see equal parts negativity and positivity. I did see people praising it, but for every for every thread I would find where people praised it, I would find one equally bashing it.
Well,
Now
they don't have to watch it.
that could also be because I'm in 2023 just now starting to refine a Twitter feed algorithm or whatever. So I'm getting blasted with everything from all directions.
Uh, yeah, my Twitter feed's kind of like jacked up right now.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of shit.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of what anybody has to offer, Trav.
Um, I've been seeing everything from like, uh, I, I, I I mean, we're not a monetized podcast by any stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, I also don't want to bring up the people that you know what I mean, unless
Mm-hmm.
it's something worthwhile for comics or movies or shows, like what's related to what we're going on with. So, but there's a lot like I didn't realize Twitter beef was perpetual.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I'll leave it at that. I'm pretty sure anyone that knows how to look at a trending page knows what I'm talking about.
But
If you
yeah,
don't
Last
like it,
of
you
Us.
ain't got to watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't watch it.
And here's my thing too. I think that a lot of people need to understand that, like, especially people that are very like, your average, adult white male doesn't want these, what people would consider conflicting ideas in their media. And I think that the people need to realize it's like, no, as being an average, average age, white male myself, I don't care, especially considering the part of the world that we live in where like some of those ideas wouldn't fly to some of the elderly people around here. I just want it to be written well. I don't care who it is and what they're doing and who's involved in it. I just want it to be written well and to make sense. And I think that it's hard for people to understand that truth. It's like it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Just write it where it's good.
Green Book.
Yes, the
Wow.
Green Book, dude.
And it doubled
I
down on it with the
I want
racism and,
Well,
it
yes.
was double. And it was, I loved it. Loved the movie.
well,
Yeah.
Lovecraft Country.
Mhm.
Um,
I still can't
that's
believe they canceled that. But
I know,
I
right?
don't think they wanted to pay.
Well,
it.
I mean, dude's
It.
king now. So
yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That may
price was
have
going
something to
up
do
after
with it.
that first season.
Well, he might not have
And
had time to do it.
Probably.
we're T minus 10 days out from it.
Yeah, I know, right? But like with the Green Book, for example, we watched it on the pod, loved
Oh,
it, recommended it to my grandmother,
yeah.
right? I'll tell you another movie I recommended to her here in a minute. But she watched it. I was like, look, you're gonna enjoy it. Trust me. Just give it a chance.
Yeah.
Sit back and watched it. Next time I talked to her, she's like, I watched that movie about the guy driving the other guy around that plays the piano. I was like, yeah, Green Book. And she goes, how good was that? And I was like, right,
My
right.
grandparents
She's
loved
like,
it too.
dude, she was like, I started getting emotional because like they were friends for all those years after that, And I was like, yeah, I know. Like I get it, So
The
she
power of friendship.
she texted me last night and was like, I told her that I put Black Panther up if she wanted to watch it. She's like, oh yeah, I didn't go watch that one. I'm gonna watch it. And I said, she's like, is there anything else on there that you'd recommend? And I was like, if you haven't watched it yet, watch Barbarian. And she's like, "Is that an older movie?" And I said, "No, it came out last year." I said, "There's certain parts of the movie that felt like that it was an older movie, like a '70s style movie, you know?" And she was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a suspense horror type movie." And she goes, "Oh, I love those." I was like, "Yeah, I know." And so she said she's going to queue it up and watch it sometime. So I'm interested to see what she thinks about that.
Oh man, yeah, I'm interested as well.
She loves watching stuff like, dude. She went to the movies and watched The Joker, and she loved it. She's like, "He was crazy." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, grandma, he was." So,
That's cool, man.
I was telling, I don't think you were on here, Charlie. I think it was Corey and Griffin, but the guy that wrote, directed Barbarian, he just sold us his next script's called Weapons.
oh, yeah, yeah,
Sold it for $83 million.
Good
Just the
yeah,
script.
lord.
He's going to direct it, but that'll be his payout. That was for the script. I think it was Warner Brothers that got it a New Line, but Jordan Peele wanted it, and he didn't win the auction. He ended up firing his manager because they didn't get it. Like he wanted it.
I
So that
mean,
makes me think like if he was willing to
ne
drop that kind of cheddar,
yeah, right. Next level, dude. Next level. But yeah, whenever grandma watches Barbarian, I'll be sure to give a full report back
she'll
to
like
the
it.
real estate. Dude, she loves, and she was like, they put all these movies on YouTube, like all these older movies from like the 40s and 50s for free on there.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah. And she's like, I've been watching those like crazy because she grew up watching those, those early Hitchcock flicks,
yeah,
Mhm.
watching all that stuff,
Movies
and,
that you can buy like a
dude. There's
disc with 80 of them on now,
so
like
many
yeah,
at
now
the
that
dollar store.
Freevee, the Tubi,
yeah.
Hmm.
so
I
many.
I told her, I said, if there's anything that you're looking for and you can't find, let me know and I'll see if I can find it. Because, like, whenever I would stay with her on the weekends, me and my brothers, especially me, I'd go over there and stay a little bit more often. We would watch like the original House on Haunted Hill,
Oh yeah,
you
Hmm.
know, all that old black and white horror
Vincent
stuff we would
Price.
watch. Yeah. Oh, she was a huge Vincent Price fan. Um, so yeah, it's cool, it's cool talking movies with her. Especially like Barbarian, because I think, she will like it. I'm just
Oh,
interested to see what her take on it is.
oh man, have you made her sit through the house that Jack built?
Oh no. I think she started watching it because somebody started watching it and they didn't watch very much of it. But
That's a
yeah,
that's a film,
yeah,
like I mean, it's
yeah,
kind of hard to really that's either a cup of tea or you're tossing it in the sink.
yeah, right. So, but we got a little bit of movie news if you want to check this out real quick.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this is kind of a two-part story here. So, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey filmmakers' next project is Jurassic Park meets Bambi. So the
Holy
upcoming
shit.
yeah. So the upcoming horror outing Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey will turn the beloved children's characters into slasher killers, and director Reese Frock Waterfield, I don't know, and producer Scott Jeffrey already have their sights on doing the same to Bambi. Speaking with Variety, Jeffrey revealed that he has already begun prepping his horror take on Disney classic, describing the project as Jurassic Park meets Bambi, which sounds like the cinematic combination we never knew we needed. Co producer and Jagged Edge co founder Scott Jeffrey will direct the Bambi movie, and while further details regarding the project remain under wraps for now, he has discussed the idea before, likening what they have in mind to the 2017 Netflix horror mystery The Ritual. The film will be an incredibly dark retelling of the 1928 story we all know and love, Jeffrey revealed last year, finding inspiration from the design used in Netflix The Ritual. Bambi will be a vicious killing machine that lurks in the wilderness. Prepare for Bambi on rabies. Another article that I saw was that Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, the director is working on a sequel, and it's like the budget is going to be 5 times more than what the budget of this one was because of the reception. Apparently, it's the
We've
number
got to we've got to podlock that.
Oh, it's
dude. Apparent
happening.
right now, it's the number one movie in Mexico. I don't know what that means,
Yeah.
but it's the number one movie in Mexico. You know
Might
what
be
I
the
mean?
only movie.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know,
just
but I mean, it sounds so far fetched. You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
That
dude, I grew up and I loved Winnie the Pooh.
yeah,
oh
same. Yeah,
Papa.
So being able to watch this guy turn my childhood into nightmare fuel is going to be fucking awesome.
right. And I'm interested because a lot of those Disney classics, like Peter Pan. Peter
Mm-hmm.
Pan came out what the 30s? Was it the 20s or the 30s? Like they could take any of those classics and
Yep.
put a horror spin on it and just print money with it. It sounds like.
Well,
So,
I mean, a lot of classic children's stories are spawned from originally like really dark old stories.
yeah, all the fairy tales and stuff, the
Well, I
Brothers
mean,
Grimm stuff.
yeah, and I mean Frank L. Baum's The Wizard of Oz, like
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff goes down some pretty weird paths as well. The Tin Man was a normal human being that got all of his body parts whacked off by an enchanted axe and became a Tin Man. I mean stuff that for a child is a little bit on the morbid side.
yeah, right. Cautionary tales, dude. Next up here, Alec Baldwin allegedly skipped mandatory firearm safety training sessions before fatal Rust shooting. As reported by
Get him out of
BuzzFeed,
here.
Alec Baldwin accidentally shot and killed cinematographer Hutchins while the pair were working on the set of the actor's film Rust. While the revolver was pointed at the camera, Baldwin discharged the gun, which hit Hutchins and the movie's director Joel Souza. Souza survived with injuries, but unfortunately, Hutchins passed away. Since the accident, the actor has claimed that the gun safety on the movie set was not his responsibility, maintaining that though he did pull back the gun's hammer, he did not pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Previously, the actor's attorney, Luke Nikas, released a statement to BuzzFeed News. Mr. Baldwin had no reason to believe there was a live bullet in the gun or anywhere on the movie set. Additionally, court documents have revealed that it was Rust's assistant director, David Halls, who greenlit the prop gun as safe for use and handed it to Baldwin, unaware that the revolver contained live rounds of ammunition. For his part, Halls has already cut a deal and pleaded guilty to negligent use of a deadly weapon in exchange for a suspended sentence at 6 months probation. This week, Baldwin and the film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, were both charged for their part in Hutchins' death. The jury will determine if either party is guilty of the cinematographer's tragic passing. When the
I
charges,
think oh, sorry.
this This is just a tack on. When the charges against the actor were filed, prosecutors alleged that Baldwin ignored the first rule of gun safety when he pointed the weapon at Hutchins. They stated had Baldwin performed the required safety checks with the armor, this tragedy would not have occurred. They wrote in a probate cause or in a probable cause statement, if Baldwin had not pointed the gun at Hutchins, this tragedy would not have occurred. Prosecutors also claimed that the actor skipped mandatory firearms safety training before the filming of Rust began. They allege that Baldwin did not attend the required session and as a result of his decision, the actor only had minimal training on firearms. The field's armorer agreed with the claims and told investigators that she'd felt additional safety training was very important for Baldwin due to his character's extensive use of guns throughout Rust. In documents, Gutierrez Reed additionally alleged that Baldwin was supposed to receive a private hour-long session on gun safety, but claimed that the actor was only there for 30 minutes and was distracted and talking on his cell phone to his family during training. Prosecutors added that the onset and limited time of training does not comport to industry standards. Baldwin's failure to ensure minimum standards were met is considered reckless in the industry. Last month, it was confirmed that there would be charges for Hutchins' tragic death. In response to the news, Hutchins' husband, Matt Hutchins, thanked prosecutors in a statement. It said, it is a comfort to the family that in New Mexico, no one is above the law. We support the charges. We will fully cooperate with this prosecution and fervently hope the justice system works to protect the public and hold accountable to those who break the law.
Well, nobody's above the law, but it sounds like he was above the rules.
Exactly.
He should
Well,
never been able to step foot on that set and hold that gun
yeah.
without doing that training. That's
Yeah.
And I think to add to that, man, I think that he's if I think the general public and everyone that's aware of what's happened with Baldwin in the past couple of years, we all are aware that the guy's full of shit.
Oh yeah.
You can't you can't you can't cut that cake any other way now.
Yeah, for sure.
That being said though, uh I feel like him pointing out that the guy was like, "Hey, it's safe to use," that's not an
you're still supposed to
excuse.
check it yourself.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's the rules.
if for all the hallmarks of making of a good production team and a good cast, if I'm gonna be filming a scene either behind the lens or in front of the lens, if I'm gonna be filming a scene that involves somebody wielding a gun, a sword, any intense combat, anything like that, and I don't see them at that mandatory training session, they're not gonna be in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
would make damn sure of it.
here's how it is in real life, man. If I'm around people and there's a gun present, right, and someone is
Hmm.
handling that gun, it depends on who that person is and how much I know that person as to how nervous in that situation I am. Even when it comes down to being around cops that are handling weapons.
Yes.
Because okay, I've been around people that I know very, very, very well. No worry whatsoever. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? We've been hanging out and I've never been nervous. But there's certain, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I know people. I know the experience that people have. I know whenever someone is handling a weapon like that,
Yeah.
based off of how they're handling it, I know if they know what they're doing with it or not. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, dead giveaways where that trigger finger's at.
Yeah.
People
Exactly.
just automatically put it
And
on the trigger, and it's
well,
like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
well, to me, it's very much with where you sticking that barrel.
exactly. It's a
Like,
combination of finger placement and also barrel
Yeah, either
placement. You
up
know
or
what I mean?
down.
Yeah. And I grew up around them, you know, but
yeah.
that doesn't take away the nervousness that I get when certain
Yeah.
people are handling these things, man.
Well,
It
and
just
I don't think there's anything wrong with that because the
no.
nervousness, I get it too, and I would assume Adam does as well. That nervousness comes from the fact that we take what that thing can do very seriously.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Like you can't
Well, it's
be
not a
you
toy.
can't yeah, you cannot be joking around with firearms.
No.
I mean, and when I mean joking, yeah, you can hoot and holler when you've got the gun aimed at like a bottle of water at a shooting range. Sure, what the fuck ever. But if we're in an intimate setting and you're like, hey, look at this firearm I bought, you better not be fucking around.
Well, what
Exactly.
you're going to do if you're showing it to someone, and it's what I always do, same thing Pedro did in that scene.
Yeah.
I drop the clip out. I make sure the
Yeah.
chamber's empty. I leave the chamber even pulled back,
Yeah.
Oh
and then
Right.
I'll
yeah.
hand it to someone. It's completely
Yeah.
empty.
Yeah.
No.
Never hand someone a loaded gun.
Yeah.
Anytime
Ever.
somebody's wanted to look at my pistol, I'll just pull it out, drop the clip, pull it
Yeah.
back. I don't normally leave
Yeah.
one in the chamber, but I always make sure.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
Oh
the thing,
yeah,
like,
it never hurts. You have to double and triple check,
Well,
man.
I would
yeah.
feel terrible
Oh yeah,
if I
exactly.
handed
Right.
someone a gun and they shot themselves with it. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. And like whenever you watch that there's a clip online of Will
oh
Smith
yeah, when that dude
where
points
he
it
yeah,
and
and
he
he
smacks it.
takes it away from him
Yeah,
and clears it. You know what I mean? And like, dude, that is someone who takes their job and also gun safety very, very seriously.
yeah.
Alec Baldwin, it doesn't fucking matter. how big your TV show was 10 years ago. It doesn't fucking
Nah,
matter
he
how
needs to
big
go
of a
to
star
jail.
you are. Yeah, dude,
Now,
that
the
stuff
armor too should they shouldn't
Well,
have been no live rounds. There's some to blame to be there, but him, they're both in trouble.
well,
They
exactly.
both killed that
well.
girl.
To quote himself, the coffee's for closers. He ain't a closer anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, he's done.
It's a tragedy, man, and it's stuff like that that just gives gun owners in general
Well, and he's a big
a bad
anti-gun
name.
guy. He don't
Exactly,
know
and he
shit about him.
shoots. Yeah, I know. It goes to show you, man. Whenever I was in school, they took us to a gun safety training class. When I was in school,
Yeah.
it lasted all day. It was at the fairgrounds, and they did a whole gun safety training day. Got the paper and every, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like it was a whole thing. It was a bunch of different schools from around the county that went down there, and not only that, but my grandparents, my dad, stepdad, uncles, everybody
Mm-hmm.
had their own. Every time I would go with someone, either hunting or shooting or anything like that, a preemptive gun safety class. This is how you
Yep.
handle this weapon. This is how you do everything with this weapon. You know what I mean? This is
Well,
how you
I
clear it. This
think,
is yeah,
well, and yeah, and I think whether you are for or against guns, I think that it doesn't matter. I think that it is naive to think that you can go through this life and have no knowledge of how they operate. I mean, clearly you're gonna watch it in TV, you're gonna see it on an officer and everything. You
yeah,
can be as anti-gun as you want, but I think a person should have a base level knowledge of guns in general. One, to relieve anxiety slightly of the firearm itself, and secondly, so that everyone is on board in taking the use of firearms and the possession of them seriously. I
yeah,
think it's a right that people have. I'm not some gun ho Second Amendment person, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily an anti-gun person either. I have a firearm in my house.
yeah,
I've handled one, I've shot one, all that stuff, and I think that it's a serious matter. And I know we're deviating from movies and stuff here, but uh, I think acquainting yourself with knowledge, base level knowledge of firearms would actually, I feel like that sense educating yourself would reduce gun violence, I think.
yeah,
More so than it does, because, I mean, whatever. But, I think Baldwin's full of shit, and I think at this point, his name is Mud.
You fucking
And,
reap what you sow, creep.
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, it was good while it lasted.
yeah, right. So next up, I just thought that this was very interesting. Matthew McConaughey says a fortune teller convinced him to do how to lose a guy in 10 days. So,
Well, I mean, all right, all right, all right.
There was this
and
fortune teller. Okay,
yeah,
you follow
This
and
had to be this had to be during his bongo
me? Yeah.
days.
it says here that in honor of its 20th anniversary, on-screen lovers Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson sat down with Vanity Fair to talk about the movie and share how the film almost never happened and the surprising way it all came together. It's hard to picture anyone other than Kate Hudson playing the lovable, ambitious blonde darling Andy Anderson, but according to writer Burr Steers, Gwyneth Paltrow was first pegged for the role. Initially, Gwyneth was attached to it, and then at some point, she must have had a conflict and had to pull out. I'm not even. Kate Hudson, legendary rom com queen, who recently had a hot take on the genre being dumbed down, was coming off her Oscar nominated performance in Almost Famous and took over where Paltrow left off. However, finding her male counterpart to play the handsome executive Benjamin Barry wasn't quite so quick. When McConaughey's name finally did come up, Hudson recalled, "We were looking at guys and kept going back and forth about who would be the right guy. The guy for me was really important. Matthew came up in a meeting and I thought that was a great idea. I loved his energy. We immediately just got along. However, McConaughey wasn't so eager about the role and was initially on the fence about accepting it. McConaughey recalled how unsure he was and how a surprising moment with a fortune teller swayed the actor to accept, saying, I remember considering whether I was going to do it or not one night while on a walk down Sunset Boulevard when suddenly this guy comes up out of nowhere to me. He was a fortune teller guru and goes, Can I tell you your fortune real quick? I was like, Yeah, man, sure. He immediately goes, There's a movie you're considering right now. It's a romantic comedy. You have to do this, or it will be one of the biggest regrets of your life. It is going to be a blast. It is going to be an incredible experience and is going to make a bunch of money. After that encounter, the beefy actor recounts, I remember thinking, did the studio hire this guy? I
Hmm.
laughed I laughed at the thought, but I also remember taking a more serious consideration. In fact, McConaughey goes on to say, I think I even accepted the offer the next day. No matter what guru led McConaughey to his decision, fans are certainly glad it happened. As for the possibility of a long asked for sequel, Hudson says, There's nothing in the works. I love working with Matthew, so I'm sure at some point we'll work together again. My hope is that Andy and Ben are happy. They've got a bunch of kids. They got married and they're still playing bullshit with his parents. If there was a sequel, I'm sure there would be some conflict in there somewhere. I mean, first of all, if you run into Matthew McConaughey, are you gonna be like, "Can I tell your fortune?"
Yeah. Well,
But
that kind
um,
of put him. He did
yeah, put him.
several
Yeah, oh yeah,
rom coms after that, like quite a few, and that kind of, he was coming off of like Ed TV.
yeah,
Like he had a career, but it wasn't really,
yeah.
you know,
Well, it's like,
just the guy that said, "All right, all right, all right."
well, he got his career started. Then the rom coms like introduced him to. He was able to start living comfortably
Yeah,
and like and then after the rom-coms came and went, then he could really start getting down to like the real McConaughey. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So that's crazy. I just thought that was so a fortune teller, dude.
yeah. That was around the time of the Bongos trap. I looked it up. They're about a year or so apart.
Maybe there wasn't a fortune teller.
Yeah,
Maybe
he
he
was
was
tripping on
tripping.
mushrooms
Yeah,
as
and he
his
thought
fortune
that there.
teller, man.
Yeah, said it's gonna be the biggest mistake of my life, man. Got to take it. Where's Woody?
Well, like during that time where he's doing all those rom coms, if you would have told me, you know, 20 years, 15 years later, we're gonna get True Detective McConaughey,
Oh my
I'd have
God!
laughed.
Right? Yeah,
Like that guy that does the rom coms.
but he
He
transcended,
did,
dude.
man.
He like
He didn't
Tropic
get stuck
Thunder.
in that.
Yeah,
Where it's like, oh, you're just
Tropic
a rom
Thunder
com guy.
really opened my eyes up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that opened my eyes up in a big way for a lot of people. You know. So yeah, McConaughey, dude. Wait, he did a Hank the Cowdog podcast series.
Whoa.
Do y'all know Hank the Cowdog?
Yeah.
Dude, I read the hell out of those
Yeah.
books as a kid.
So it was one season, 5 episodes. We've got Matthew McConaughey playing Hank, of course, Jesse Plemons, Kirsten Dunst, Michael Shannon, Joel Egerton. I might have to listen to this, dude.
When was that?
2020.
During the pandemic.
Yeah, they were bored,
Yeah.
man.
There's a bunch of people doing stuff like that. Remember the one where they shot all the scenes for Princess Bride?
Yeah,
Each person
yeah,
shot it on their phone and just set it in. Like,
yeah.
all right, I ain't the
Right here.
cow dog.
There was no. This is because when you go to the series, the Peepkins was 2022. I don't know what that is, but I might have to listen to that though. I mean, I got down with Hank the Cowdog back in the day, you know. So
Let's see, is this the one? Yeah, here it is. It was 2022
was it?
or just 2020.
Yeah, yeah.
Here it is on Apple.
I mean, I may have to,
Apple Podcast.
just saying. give that a go. Next up here, Marvel's Fantastic Four starts filming in early 2024. Director Matt Shockman says the WandaVision director also told The Wrap why he walked away from Star Trek 4 to tackle Marvel's reboot. WandaVision director Matt Shackman opened up about his decision to exit the upcoming Star Trek sequel to instead direct Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot due February the 14th, 2025. The prolific filmmaker who counts credits on series like The Great, Succession, Game of Thrones, The Boys, and Prime Video's upcoming The Consultant, also confirmed that filming on the MCU's Fantastic Four reboot would commence in early 2024. I had a great time working on Star Trek for a little over a year, working closely with J.J. Abrams and everyone at Paramount, and I love that franchise and I love that cast that J.J. put together, and it would have been an unbelievable pleasure to work with them on the fourth installment there, Shackman told The Wrap during an interview about his work on The Consultant. But movies have different journeys and momentums, and schedules are a little bit uh mercurial. And so when the Fantastic Four opportunity came up, it was just too hard to pass up and to go back to home to Marvel, a place that I worked on WandaVision at with those people who are wonderful collaborators. Um so in August of 2022, it was announced that Shackman had stepped away from his role as director of Star Trek 4, which aims to reunite the cast led by Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto. On the heels of that announcement was the reveal that the filmmaker was in the early talks to take over Fantastic Four, where Spider Man No Way Home, Helmer John Watts was previously attached as director. Fantastic Four was initially set for November 2024 release, but was pushed back last October alongside other MCU projects like the Marshall Ali fronted Blade, Deadpool 3, and Avengers Secret Wars. And then it goes into what the Fantastic Four are. So, I mean, I'm excited. Hopefully, we will get some casting news soon. Because if they're going to start filming in early 2024, then they're getting everything ready right now. And if I guarantee you that there's people cast, right?
Oh yeah.
There has to be, you know. Um, I'm very interested, man. There's a lot of good prospects for Mr. Fantastic out there. So I'm very interested to see the direction that they go with that. So DC head Peter Safran confirms Batgirl was unreleasable, says it would have hurt everyone involved. So months after Batgirl was canceled seemingly for the purpose of a tax write-off, more reasons for the decision are coming to light. New studio co-lead Peter Safran, short of taking credit for the idea, is explaining today that quality had a lot to do with it. He thought it was bad after seeing the movie with everybody else before all the effects were finished. Speaking at the recent DC presentation in LA, Safran said, I saw the movie. There were a lot of incredibly talented people in front of and behind the camera on that film, but the film was not releasable. It happens sometimes. The film was not releasable. He'd add he believes the canceling was a stunning and brave choice. Also sharing his concern for the filmmakers involved, Safran continued, I actually think that Zaslav and the team could made a very bold and courageous decision to cancel it because it would have hurt DC, would have hurt those people involved. I think they really stood up to support DC, the character, the story, the quality, and all of that. Moreover, he still wants to work with the crew, including the screenwriter. We'd love to be in business with all of these folks, he said. Christina Hodson, the writer, she's somebody we're already back in business with. A lot of talented people involved, but the film was just not releasable. It would not have been able to compete in the theatrical marketplace. Destined for HBO Max, Safran says Batgirl's biggest drawback is it was built for the small screen. I think it was not an easy decision, but they made the right decision by shelving it. The film was reportedly of a CW quality, a creative tone, and the new brass is abandoning, and was rumored to do an injustice to Michael Keaton's Batman legacy. Directors Adil El Arbi and Bilal Falah We're told their talent and quality were not an issue, but Warner Discovery CEO David Zaslav, like Safran, somewhat disputed this when he called it a casualty of restructuring. Zaslav said, "We're not going to release any film because it's ready. The focus is going to be how do we make each of these films as good as possible." I mean, that's pretty ballsy, but it makes sense, you know?
Yeah. Uh,
Um, no, go ahead, man.
oh, I was just, uh, yeah, I agree. It's, they, I'm glad they decided to shelve it just for the Michael Keaton thing alone.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
And who,
obviously.
I mean, and if it's of CW quality, then like maybe like I know this is going to be like far fetched out, you know, but they're getting rid of all the CW shows, right? Slowly
Well,
but surely.
considering, the Arrowverse is effectively slowly, like, I think it's over or about to be because they're
Y-
about to end. I think the Flash's final season's going on right now.
Yeah, and Arrows has been done.
Yeah.
So
Legends of Tomorrow, I believe, got axed,
yeah,
and
Super
Supergirl got
Girl.
I think they're
canceled.
bringing some of those writers over though, right? To
Yeah,
Now,
work at
yeah,
Warner Brothers.
now, now I'll say the little bit of Superman and Lois that I've watched, I was pleasantly surprised.
yeah,
Uh, Heavy Snyder influence on the way they portray Superman,
right.
but
So I mean, if that's the case, right, and if it's of CW quality, then it's not far fetched to think that they couldn't release this on CW as like a bow on top.
well,
Like the
if you remember in Gunn's announcement, he claimed that all external stuff would be considered part of a DC Elseworlds brand.
yeah, exactly, right.
They could easily go direct to streaming with the movie as a Elseworlds presentation
Yeah,
and let it be what it is, so that the people, because they're whether you agree with them or not, there is a community of people that did want to see this movie, and the movie is finished, unreleasable, sure, but who are we to really say? So just kind of put it out in the ether and let it be what it is.
yeah. I mean, it's either that or wait 10 or 15 years and then release it. Oh, this is the unreleased
Oh yeah.
Batgirl movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll find its way one way or another to light. It just depends on how long that gap is at the end of the day. So
Yeah. It'll probably take its own weird uniqueness, kind of like those very horrible Fantastic Four films from back in the day,
yeah,
like pre 20th Century Fox.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, if you don't mind, if I take the reins here before we go into the next article, speaking of James Gunn, I have some more DC stuff that kind of segue into it.
All right. Yeah.
According to the Direct, now this there's going to be some bad news and some good news with it. Keanu Reeves' Constantine 2 reportedly canceled at Warner Brothers, but there's been an update. For those looking forward to the sequel to '05's Constantine starring Reeves, Warner Brothers might have some bad news. Warner Brothers shocked fans around the world when it announced in September 22 that Reeves' DC Comics movie would be getting a sequel after nearly 20 years. Since then, there's been no further word on the project. However, the future of the DCU is bright. It includes a new Superman from James Gunn, a fresh take on Batman and Robin and Brave and the Bold, a Booster Gold series, and more. Yet it seems that Constantine may not be a part of DC Studios' new slate of projects. The update says that Entertainment Weekly reached out to Warner Brothers regarding the status of Constantine 2. A representative for the studio stated that the Keanu Reeves led sequel has not yet been canceled. Thanks to industry insider Casey Walsh, fans learned that the recently announced film Constantine 2 might have been canceled. In response to a now deleted tweet, Walsh bluntly stated that it is not happening. So, if that's true, then why would Warner Brothers have ordered it in the first place? Well, according to the insider, it was a quote, desperate move, quote. Tweet said that was a movie they greenlit in desperation because they weren't sure of the direction of DC uh, and needed to have something post 23. So this move would come right on the heels of three other projects meeting their demises. Most recently, this included Doom Patrol, Titans, and Pennyworth. Before that, there was an incident involving Batgirl and its controversial cancellation. So that goes on to talk about Reeves being like, "Yeah, I was asking about it, and I'd do it, and blah 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 blah." So here's where it gets interesting. It says that there was even an HBO Max series centered around Constantine reportedly in development with another actor attached, so it's likely that Gunn and Safran have hit the brakes on that series moving forward. However, there's still plenty of room for the character to show up in James Gunn's plans, such as in the newly announced Swamp Thing movie. The two characters have a complex acquaintanceship, and putting the duo together might pave the road to Justice League Dark.
Hmm.
So, I mean, kind of sucks because I was one of the people that was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm down for more Keanu Reeves Constantine. I enjoyed that movie a lot."
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
And
it's like,
what if they do rehash it to where Swamp Thing is actually a team up movie, and we get this moment where Keanu Reeves shows up and they just hit the ground running, where it's like, of course he knows these other people.
yeah. I mean, who? I mean, because they said they're working on this stuff. Like, we got a small tidbit of what they actually have in the pipeline over there. So the reality is like, who knows what they're gonna do and like where it's gonna go, and because I don't know, man. I'm not discounting anything at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Gunn has a very tall order to fill,
Oh yeah.
and only time's gonna tell. Because as much as we praised the idea a couple weeks ago, where he was talking about what he's doing and how we were like, hey man, these obscure characters, it's cool. That's only going to get him so far, and it's going to be how he handles the streamlined pantheon of DC, and how that's all going to coalesce into its own big event and experience, and with the stories that he's wanting to tell.
Right. Yeah.
um Creatively, I think he's obviously got the chops for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, he's shown us in droves what he can do with any kind of character set or any kind of audience. Because you watch Guardians of the Galaxy and you're like that's something. Like, I watched the first one with my children. Like, I watched all of them with them, but like they were real little when that first one dropped and had a blast. And then you turn around and watch Peacemaker or Suicide
Hmm.
Squad, and
Yeah.
so he's able as a director and filmmaker to show range within one medium,
Right.
and show that he can make them very distinctive in tone and stuff, but still effectively just do a good old fashioned comic book story.
Right. That's interesting, man. I'm interested to see what he does, man.
It kind of goes along. Remember when they were like Zaslav wanted to get rid of the high paid actors?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if you bring Keanu in,
I mean, that's a lot of monies.
yeah,
But I also think that Reeves is a maybe just because we see so much good guy Reeves on the internet. I feel like he's probably the kind of person that has enough money in his life now where he would reprise a fun role for less money just for the sake of just having a good time with it.
Right.
Like, he's still
Well,
going to get paid for his time, clearly,
yeah.
but I think for the larger project and for fandom, especially with the stuff that he does that has a cult following or a big following, not even cult really. um, I think he's willing to do it for fans. It seems.
Well, here's the thing too with Keanu. I feel like Keanu is a very, very smart guy, right? And I do feel like that he might be willing to do a favor for a favor. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like maybe if we can get that next Matrix movie made, I'll do it
Yeah.
for some back end cash. You know what I'm like? You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? Like I'm not
Mm.
saying that that's definitely, but you never know though, So
Well, they got to get out of this hole. They got the
exactly.
$300 million on the CNN app that that's gone.
Yeah, yeah,
80 million on the Batgirl movie. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
got to make that back.
Warner Brothers cut himself deep, and they hit an artery, and they were bleeding for quite a while,
yeah.
man.
Their internal bleeding. So last up here, Gunn's brutal honesty about DCU's past failings angered Warner Brothers Discovery bosses. Gunn has never been someone to shy away from sharing information and opinions about his upcoming projects, mainly via his Twitter account. However, it seems that during his joint DCU announcement recently with Safran, the pair's harsh comments about the former DCEU and Zack Snyder's DC universe did not go down well with Warner Brothers Disney execs. Fans and the press were hanging on every word as the new rebooted DCU's plans were unveiled. There were some comments made by Gunn and Safran during the press conference that were not well received by some of the big bosses behind the scenes at WBD. I don't like that. WBD. In a report, Hollywood Reporter claimed that there was quite a few ruffled feathers in the wake of the comments about the canceled Batgirl movie being non-releasable, and old DC management giving away the IP like they were party favors at
Mm.
any creator who smiled at them.
I mean, dude, we had to rip that band-aid off at some point.
Yeah. There's been a lot of conflict and unrest around the old DCU and the transition it is now undergoing under the control of Gunn and Safran. When WBD bought into the Snyderverse, everything seemed to have a coherent direction under Zack Snyder. But when he was forced to drop out of Justice League, things fell apart very quickly from what turned out to be shaky ground anyway. Now there's a new regime in place, and it seems to be one that has no issue in calling out the failings of the franchise's past. The new slate of 10 projects, which includes a mix of movies, TV shows, live action, and animated projects, will seemingly not begin rolling out until 2025 in the main, with the reboot of Superman being the first DCU movie under Gunn and Safran's grand plan. However, this year we'll see a number of DC projects arriving after numerous delays, and after only one live action offering in 2020, fans may be ready for what is being offered. We get Shazam. It just goes into what the future. But he's not wrong.
No.
I mean,
Transparency. I mean, if you wanted transparency,
well, my thing too is like all right, the people that are probably upset are the people that were there
that
during
fucked
that
it up.
time that Zaslav
Yeah.
hasn't cut loose yet, so it's one of those situations where it's like, I mean, you wouldn't be upset if it wasn't true. That's all I'm going to say. So, honesty cuts the deepest, right? So, but anyway, that's funny though. I like James Gunn. Like I like him as a person, as an individual,
Mm-hmm.
and I like his no nonsense, no BS approach to, how he conducts himself because he is really good at talking to people, answering questions without spilling the sauce,
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to do that, but he has a really good way of tackling that. So I'm excited, man. Like I would like to see, the Snyderverse be fully realized and everything, of course. Um, but at what cost? And the cost that we were paying was pretty bad, to be fair. Like getting, like Wonder Woman, We did get some decent movies out of it. Shazam was good, Aquaman was good, the second Suicide Squad was good, but
Yeah.
like, you know, it's fine. But that's all I got, man. I'm ready for trailers, bro.
We got a few.
We got some. It looks like we got some bangers over here, dude. Bangers.
We finally get the Elvis, Agent Elvis. I think McConaughey's doing the voice too.
Really?
Sounds like him.
All right, all right, all right.
Yeah, let me drop my comment.
Wait, I didn't know some of these trailers released. Like this Guy Ritchie thing?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that that was ready to be released yet. I don't know if time's passing faster or what.
It just seems like we were just reading an article about that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And now we're getting a full-fledged trailer. I don't know,
Well,
man.
I've got nostalgia pulled up here. Looks like some John Hamm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it John Hamm co-starring his Ham?
Yeah.
I mean,
And lap
Equal
meat.
parts, equal parts John, equal parts Hamm.
Yeah.
I heard that he's second to Neeson.
And
So,
Fassbender.
oh, dude, Fassbender.
I wonder if they got a club.
I mean, he ain't slow.
You got to think. If I was in Hollywood and I was toting a Hogan, there would be definitely a toting a Hogan club.
Yeah.
It would be like
Wait,
Eyes
wait,
Wide
wait, wait,
Shut,
what? What are we talking about, guys?
talking about meat, man meat.
Lap meat.
Yeah,
All right, Green Book.
for real, dude. Like
Let's
they
let's
say
What'd
watch.
they
they
say?
say John Hamm is toting a Hogan, dude.
Like he's right
Like
there with Huey Lewis.
like
I
it's
thought,
soft 12 inches.
I thought we were having Davin chatter here, man.
Oh, we're dabbing.
I mean, you.
Do you know John Hamm?
what's
Yeah.
it?
Mm-hmm.
Griffin's like, what you know about the dark arts?
Dork warts. I'm ready when you guys are on this.
All right.
The dork warts.
3, 2, 1, play.
Entertain Africa?
Yeah, I ain't never
It's a
heard of
new
this.
YouTube channel. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, is that Requiem for a Dream?
I think
It
so,
looks like
yeah.
it. Juice by Jerry.
Oh shit.
Oh, this is gonna be an acting class, dude.
Well, apparently this movie came out in 2018.
Really?
That's what it says.
I mean, I can already tell you it's the kind of movie I wouldn't jump to, but I mean, dude, good acting's good acting.
Oh. Yeah, that's a
I
young
mean,
Offerman.
dude, all the star power in this one. I mean, I've seen almost every one of these cast members in really good roles.
I mean, I ain't mad at
But
it.
yeah, sometimes you get honey dicked by an old trailer.
It's okay though.
It came up in the list 12 days ago, you know. What's
Yeah,
this?
right. What have we here, Poppet?
We didn't watch that back when it came out.
Mm-mm.
No.
I don't recognize the trailer.
I mean, I might check that out though. That looks pretty interesting.
We
Clinic,
watched a
dude.
like a teaser for this.
Oh yeah, I remember the teaser
Yeah.
for this. Yeah.
This expands more on the story.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Yeah. We got 2 Christoph Waltz trailers.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's a good day.
Yeah. I'm ready.
All right. Why does it keep playing? All right. 3, 2, 1, play.
I
See,
am
like this
here to
wasn't
provide a service.
yeah.
Damn.
Ooh.
What the fuck?
I mean, this looks like it could get really intense.
Series.
That looks crazy. It's a completely different look, like feeling than that first one.
Yeah, dude.
'Cause the
That's why
first one's like he's like,
when I started
okay.
playing the trailer, I was like, this ain't even the same movie.
Yeah. It's like because the first one is like, oh, he's a serial killer, right?
Yeah.
Like, now he's like, I don't know. I don't know what he is. He's the consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of want to see it though. Not gonna lie.
For sure.
We got this. We got some more Mel Brooks going on here.
Yeah, we got a new
Oh hell
History of the
yeah!
World Club. Let's see who we
Yeah,
got there. Oh, fucking, what's his name?
yeah. Oh, I'm ready.
Book of the Mormon. All right, hang on. Comments are on. That's a good sign.
Yas, bitch. Yas.
Nice. All right, 3, 2, 1, play. Mm-hmm. Danny DeVito.
Oh God.
It's like they mixed drunk history
Yeah.
Yeah.
with, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm all right with it.
From soup to.
It's got everybody in it.
Oh, anyone who ever could have wanted to be in a Mel Brooks production.
They're like, it's your final chance. It's got everybody in it. The apron. I hope that's a series.
I feel like
So-
Jack Black probably takes this way more serious than all of them. Like, cause that's the thing, man. Mel Brooks stuff, man. Like that's timeless. Like that's
Yeah,
yeah.
like this is obviously not
definitely
gonna
a badge of
be.
honor.
Yeah,
A
this is
4-night
not.
event.
Yeah, so it's going to be, I'm guessing, 4 hours.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah.
Yes, bitch.
I'll definitely be checking that out.
I'm super excited about this next one, man.
Oh,
Oh, I bet.
I had to drop it. It's a trailer for Grease. Do you think
Tell
they'll do
me
the
more.
Tell Me More?
Tell me more.
I mean,
Did
hope
she
so,
put
dude.
up a
I just-
fight?
I just don't know if this is the one that we want.
I
It's
mean,
definitely not going to be the one that we want.
Who?
Paramount Plus. What was that though? So we're not going in the direction of
Legacy sequel?
what you call it, workaholics.
Yeah.
But we're gonna put this out
Exactly,
because
right?
everybody wants this.
Yeah.
No one asked for it.
No. I mean, it could be good. let's
Let's
see.
see. All right, 3, 2, 1, play. I had to drop it. Oh, pop music in the 60s. Ladies and germs. Okay.
In the 50s?
Okay. John Travolta better not show up in this.
I know, right?
I do not want to see Danny Zuko. Okay.
What were we doing, guys?
We're going to
We're
watch the next
podlocked
trailer.
on we're podlocked on that greaseness. I'm excited about this trailer. I mean, it's Guy Ritchie, dude. Gyllenhaal?
Gyllenhaal.
I
Yeah.
mean,
That Gyllenhaal?
Guy Ritchie, and it's not a copper film or a caper.
Oh, it might be caping, dude.
I hope they're not caping in military fatigues, Griffin. Come
gotta,
on, man.
gotta cape regardless of what you're wearing.
What was that
I'll put
movie
it
where
this
the
way.
military was still in the gold? You remember that one?
What was that? We Three Kings?
I think that was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Three
They pulled a
Kings. Yeah, it's got Clooney.
Dude, that filing cabinet hasn't been touched in decades.
Yeah.
My nose is bleeding over here. I'm ready for this.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play. Uh-oh. Took a serious turn. Is this Tom Waits singing Tom Petty?
I think so.
Same as men, as with horses and dogs.
It looks pretty good.
Don't really look like a Guy Ritchie movie.
No, he has those from time to time,
Yeah.
though. You know, Sherlock Holmes. You know. Is this a George Foreman biopic?
Yeah.
Is this going to go into his grill at some point?
Is he gonna knock out the fat?
I hope so. Dude, he created a cultural icon.
Dude, he made stupid kids be able to cook.
Dude, like, I
I
haven't
have
seen.
one. I've
I
got the
made,
Yeah,
big one
dude.
that's huge.
dude,
Yeah, me too.
I made many a grilled cheese on a George Foreman.
I mean, it's crazy that the career, the legacy that he had, and then he's like, you know what? There's going to be a badass grill.
That's just
Well,
gonna be slightly tilted to drain the
y-
grease.
I mean, every house had one,
Every
dude.
Yeah.
house.
Oh, dude,
s-
yeah.
Some houses had like the big one, the medium one, and the little one. For the one grilled cheese, you
The
could cook like
ultimate.
Well,
one hamburger in.
well, it was
It
almost
was
like
the
at the time, like now we have the air fryer. Everybody's got an
Yes.
air fryer. This was kind
yeah.
of pre.
Yeah.
You don't have to use the oven. You got this little thing.
Uh, I'm interested to see this.
Well, that was back when everybody was having hamburgers for dinner.
Yeah.
Homemade hamburgers for dinner.
I mean, Candyman beef. Hit us up. All right, I'm ready.
I don't do it as good as y'all.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I ain't never seen George Foreman with hair.
Oh shit.
Always with the voices.
All we need
Yeah.
now is on program, and we got a movie.
Damn.
Mm, badass set of cars.
Oh.
Uh,
I mean, I kind of want to watch it, dude. It looks
yeah,
good.
If I
It
yeah,
could
looks
look
man.
at
good.
the sun.
Yeah. I
They,
like this comment. As an ex-college student, George's invention also fed me through college. His grill saved many students from starvation. Facts.
ice cold facts.
Yeah. Oh, them ice cold facts hit different, dude.
I mean, it's like sweet tea. The water melts down, and it just makes it better.
Like whenever Ice T's going off on somebody on Twitter, I feel like I did something wrong.
I
You know what I
mean,
mean?
you immediately want to post up with him, like, dude, let's take care of this for him.
Huh.
No, I'm afraid he's coming after me.
So since I dropped this trailer earlier, it's become unlisted.
Yeah, I see that.
See that?
Yeah.
It wasn't earlier.
Might want to
Wonder why.
re-upload it. You know what I'm saying?
Wonder why they did that.
I don't know. It's got Christoph Waltz and Sam Neill.
Let's go.
Let's check it out.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play. Licorice bootlaces. It's got some kind of Harry Potter shit going on here or something like. Oh,
Okay.
no.
That's interesting. It says that it's adapted from Tom Holt's popular 7-book fantasy series.
Oh.
The Portable Door is coming to Australia cinemas March the 23rd and New Zealand cinemas March the 30th.
So is it stars for Australia?
I think so, right?
Because it's the same logo style.
Yeah. Same font.
Yeah. You know it's copywritten.
It doesn't look bad.
No.
Now I'm well, not excited, but I'm interested in what the hell this is.
Yeah, right. That dude wrote a lot of books, man. Still alive. 61 years old. All right. Agent Motherfucker Elvis on Netflix, dude.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey as Agent Elvis.
Yeah, I was using my
Okay.
laptop, was watching that Palin's video, and I was grabbing trailers. But what a little bit I heard, I was like, is that Matthew McConaughey? All right, I guess he could do Elvis.
Let's peep it, man.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play.
Like Archer.
God damn it, Scatter.
That looks pretty funny, dude. Oh, that looks funny.
So the reason I dropped this trailer, this is a movie that was filmed on an iPhone 14
Okay.
Pro. And when I watched a little bit of it, I was like, damn. Like, looks pretty good.
Shit, I'm ready for it, you know?
All right. 3, 2, 1, play.
The dude has a chronovisor.
That my iPhone camera. Y'all seen that new
Really?
Android camera that can take pictures of the moon?
No.
God, dude, you could zoom in, and it's high def. I don't know how, but it's like
on
you can
some
get a
other
close
shit.
up
That's crazy.
of the moon with a cell phone. Here it is.
Oh, I'm ready.
Look at that thumbnail. We know
So
that's
much
good.
Yeah, dude.
Violence, violence, violence. I actually had a different one in here, and I came across this one. I was like, oh no, it's gotta be good. It's better.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play. Look at that logo.
Da, da, da.
Mm-hmm. Jesus.
This is the most intense thing I've ever seen.
It's Pootie Tang. It's
He's got a
Pakistani Pootie Tang, dude.
seatbelt.
What the hell?
What the fuck?
What's even going on?
I don't know.
What the fuck is happening?
Zandazel. Oh, you got a little pudge on her.
Is this all from the same thing?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it's 50-50 military propaganda mixed with exotic belly dancing movie porn.
Now, this is a
Mhm.
movie set you might get hurt on.
Yeah.
Is this a comedy or an action
I don't
film?
know, but they've done like 8 different songs. I feel like I just saw the whole movie.
Yeah, right.
But we still don't even know the plot.
I have no idea who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. Oh, I'm almost certain that surely the cop in the brown
Yeah.
clothes and the hat, looking like Saddam Hussein.
He's the good guy, right?
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
We'll never know.
I mean, we have to watch it. That's the only way we'll find out.
Good luck finding a copy of it.
Oh, I can find a copy. I'll import one if I have
Like, I'll
to.
buy a Blu-ray player.
Yeah. Rip it.
Region
So,
locked.
Yeah.
what the fuck is this, guys?
Is this softcore?
See if you spot somebody in here you recognize.
Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bolorama Part 2.
Let's not do a lot of research.
Okay.
Okay.
Just watch it. I want to see if Griffin spots a familiar face.
Is it a dude or a chick?
I don't know. You'll spot him.
Okay. All right.
He's the main character.
All right.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play.
No fucking way! Is this real?
It is real. He went to the premiere and everything.
Oh my god.
Who is this?
It's a fucking no fucking way, dude. It's a caster.
At Real Blue TV. Watch his acting chops. This gets ridiculous, like in a good way. Right here. He looks like a baby Wishmaster. That shit stuck in her head. But yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, a while back he was talking about going to a premiere that he took his mom. He's like, it's crazy to watch a movie at a premiere with me in it, you know? And I'm like, you
Yeah.
took your mom to that?
Wow. What the fuck?
I knew when you saw him because, like, can't mistake that dude. Like,
No. I gotta look him up. I haven't seen anything from him in a while.
well, I was kind of hoping that old Elon would unlock his Twitter that he lost with, you know,
Yeah.
he had 100,000 followers, if not more.
That's fucking crazy.
I saw this when we were looking at that article, or one of the first articles earlier. This was a trailer that was a little bit buzz about it.
Yeah.
Hey, and when y'all were talking about The Wizard of Oz, did we watch that Wizard of Oz trailer? It's like Gale. What was it called? I might throw it in next week, but it was Stay Away from Oz. I watched it, but I wasn't sure if I put it in here. It's like a horror type Wizard of Oz kind of, you know, someone took it and made it spin, kind of like what they're doing with the.
Yeah. No, I don't think we've watched that, but I'll check it out though.
But yeah,
No
this is a
fucking
Shutter
way,
original. Oh, exclusive.
I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play. Helps the medicine go down. Uh-huh. There was a movie back in the day where the babysitter was crazy, tried to bang the dad, and whoa.
Wasn't it Poison Ivy with Alicia Silverstone?
I think it was her, yeah. What kind of tincture is she giving this boy?
LSD.
That looks interesting.
So what now we get into our foreign film February. We got enough to do 3 movies.
Yeah.
and not go long. I know that we want Triple R to be one.
Mm-hmm.
You said that all on the Western Front. Now, I
Yeah.
dropped one in there like 8 months ago.
Yeah.
It was in March. But it's also a military movie. It's one of those movies that's on a list
Oh yeah.
where it's like, this is a. But I don't know if we want to do 2 military films.
I mean, I'm fine with it. You
Yeah, so
know.
unless anybody else has got something, then we can do those 3. Triple R's got to be
We
last, right?
Yeah. Well, we could do those 3 and then maybe see what a good contender for 4 would be. Like if somebody brings something good to the
Yeah.
table and we're like, dude, we got to check that out, you know?
Yeah, because it would only extend us into like the 7th
Yeah.
if we did another
So,
one.
and that ain't nothing but a G thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Baby. But yeah, what do y'all want to start with? You want to
Well,
start with Stalingrad?
if we're gonna, I'd rather go by the release date
Okay.
on the
Yeah.
quality. But that movie's supposed to be really good. I watched a scene from it.
And you were like, ooh.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it. Well, it's
Yeah,
a
I get
scene
that.
where they're like, they make them shoot some of their own friends
Mm,
because they went against orders.
yeah. I mean,
But yeah,
I'm down.
take it off
Stalingrad,
the bat.
93. Coming at you
Like a
like a
bee.
beam. Like a bee.
Great. Checks in the mail.